Yo, we're back. We're back. No chain today. I actually took it to the jewelers. I know this is very important, but it's my video diary, so fuck it. I took it to the jewelers, and I'm gonna have it extended because I just don't. I want to rock my jewelry more, and I just don't because I have to latch it. It's this whole pain in the ass. So I made it bigger. I want to be on my Drake shit. I wear every single chain, even when I'm in the house, could be started from that. So I'm having it extended a little bit so I can just drape it on and off. So I'm going to be showing up in these videos with a chain. So I'm giving you a fair warning. A couple things I want to tell you about today. I've been taking notes. One of them is, speaking of this about video diary, is I wanted to encourage y'all to take notes on your life in whatever way that is. Whether that's, artist way, like morning pages, whether that's with like a line a day journal, whether this like video diaries. Because I think there are things that I've really found I've gotten profound meaning out of recording my life in certain ways. And I'm really excited to someday have some semblance of success and be able to look back at the journey and be like, hey, to be able to pull those clips out for some sort of thing. Like, I see Hormozio all the time and like Wiz Williamson, they're like, dude, I wish I would like recorded that journey more. And I'm glad that I have, because who knows how far away that is, but I think it'd be cool to like make some of these clips in someday. But that's number one, is kind of like to be able to see your lonely chapters. And another one is I've talked about this before, about to see the problems that you have at any moment in time. You get distance between them, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever, and just how much smaller they all seem. With the line a day thing, it's interesting. Every year, I basically look back on kind of what I'm struggling with, and I think sometimes people, watch these video things and they give me life advice on, because this can sometimes seem, I think, like a call for help, because I'm kind of figuring it out and I feel kind of lost and stuck. And I think that, for what it's worth, I feel like I'm calling it the art of becoming. That I just think that that's like always how it will be. That I don't, that's the whole arrival thing. That like I don't need to ever just like feel like I have it all figured. I think that this, like, the whole process of it is like these kind of working through it in real time. You take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You end up in the same thought patterns. You break them. You reach another level, and then and I think it's this sort of interesting. I've tried this before. This idea of kind of like concentric circles. And having this kind of video diary has been really helpful. Same with the line of day journal. It'll be like, oh man, in 3 years ago, it's like I'm struggling with something, like I don't even remember that. But then also at the same time, seeing like there are a lot of things that I was working through, still struggling with back then, that I'm still struggling with now. But kind of seeing the process of how those things develop. And I think that one of the nice parts is, in this day and age when we have AI, is that it's a lot easier to kind of like just like drop the YouTube channel in or drop the videos in, whatever it is, to your Claude Code, and be like, hey, like go through this, like transcribe it, and this is what I've been doing. And being like, I was like, pull out what are like my kind of common core beliefs. I was like draw parallels between, transcribe all these episodes and pull out like the ideas that, like, interesting ideas and nuggets and themes that I kind of circle back to, that are kind of like key as core themes that kind of come through just from living and articulating ideas. And I think there's also something, I listened to a podcast with Tom Segura the other day. He's a great comedian if you don't know him. And he's talking about how much his comedy bits kind of come out through these conversations that he has on his podcast or walks with friends or whatever. And I feel like so much of this podcast for me is just like solidifying my thinking. That I have an idea or I have a thought, but it's like I sit down in front of this camera and talk to my future self. And I'm like, there's something like talking about it that you're able to kind of get you, like something kind of comes up in the spur of the moment that like, or a story that inspires it. And you're able to kind of like dig into it in another way that you wouldn't normally, that I think is, for me, like a nice benefit of having this outlet. And so I've been going back through these episodes, and I guess I'm having Claude go back through these episodes and kind of pull on these different ideas. And it's been really interesting kind of seeing some, I'm like, oh, I guess these are some things that I really believe in, because it's like this idea I've talked about 12 times. This one I've talked about 24 times. This one 3 times, it's like, oh, cool. And I'm going to see like the kind of kernels of ideas that become more formed parts of my identity for a season or for longer than that. And it gives me inspiration for like things to write about, things to talk about, maybe fallacies in my own belief, or also kind of seeing kernels and inspiration that I'm still working on and still trying to figure out that like kind of stick with you, and you have to kind of like, I think it's like advice. And I think sometimes you have to almost be at a certain point in your life for like the little like detonation to explode. It's planted there. You can hear it or you can know it. But until you reach a certain point, it's like, push, good. Oh, I get it now. And that's been also really interesting too, is to see how having these video diaries, there will be ideas that I'll look back on. And I'll be like, I said that and that was interesting, but I didn't really get them. And I wonder how much now, like in this current moment, that I'm like, I'm saying that, but I don't get it yet. Like, I still have yet to learn to get to that point. But it is kind of those, like, the more you know, the less you know sort of a thing. Like the older I get to realize the less that I know. I do kind of miss the like grazing confidence of my early 20s when it's just like, you feel like you had forever. You feel like I knew exactly who I was. Even if I was still becoming, it felt at least like I just had this confidence from 19 to 22. I was like, this is what I had actual rapper confidence back then. That now I have like stand-up comedian insecurity confidence, but I don't have that like rapper, like this is what it is. But you know what I mean? It's interesting. So I have some ideas that I wrote down I want to talk to you about, and also some stuff that I've been struggling with lately. And I think this is just kind of one of those chapters of life. It's just kind of a tough chapter for your boy, kind of working through tough decisions, working through direction, like what's next, and kind of, I feel like I'm at a bit of a crossroads. I think it's, interestingly enough, I think 35, my 35th birthday really fucked me up. Like there's something about turning 35 and working for a 23-year-old who just sold his company for like millions of dollars, who I'm working for. It's like those two things like in tandem, I think has made me feel one, like the realization of my age, and also like at the same time, like so I'm opined, and also realizing that I still have time, but like I only have so many more swings before things probably will slow down for the family shit. And so that, I think I've been feeling a lot of pressure around that. And also this, I think coming into this season of life, is this one of, this is something that people talk about, as one of my notes I wrote down, is the idea between warrior mode and monk mode. And that was one thing that I've been thinking about, because I can feel myself kind of going towards warrior mode more, where like, I think there are like eras when it's like monk mode, I think monk mode on like the internet can be portrayed as almost like you go into your cave, it's like no sex, no distractions, you just kind of grind it out. And I think for me, a lot of times like that monk mode has been just like, it's been productive, but in a peaceful way, where I'm just like enjoying my day to day more, and just being like, like in Chiang Mai, I think there's like this whole era where I was like grinding it out, but also just so excited to be in Chiang Mai, and like, was stoked to be out of the day job, and just be like, just like my day to day, like going on walks, thinking about shit, eating, what's that fucking cow? There's like cow samoy, but that's not it. You know what I'm talking about? Fucking delicious Thai soups, and just like being in the moment. And then there are these other phases, other modes, and that's where I feel like that it's hard to like keep yourself into the mode, almost like you just kind of arrive there naturally, when you can feel these energies that are kind of pushing you towards this like, I want to build, I want to go. These kind of more ambitious periods, and you can, I think, kind of like psych yourself into them, but I also struggle sometimes, I think, to just, they almost have to arrive by themselves. And so I can feel myself kind of building towards one right now, like in one, like feeling those like energies. And it's hard because I don't know exactly what to point it at. So that's, I've been doing a lot of thinking this last week, chatting with Claude, long walks, in terms of like, what do I really want? What do I want? What do I want my day to look like? Kind of this future, what sort of future am I building towards? And I feel kind of torn, like a lot of people who have this kind of creative soul, because they have these different things that you want to do. And so part of me is like in love with like the nonfiction space, like Modern Wisdom, Huberman shit, Tavares shit, like all the podcasts on like idea podcasts, idea and kind of like the science health stuff, but like I'm a big like ideas pod kind of guy. Dan Code, these sorts of stuff. And I'm torn because I think I have some like, I want to talk more about ideas. I want to write more about ideas. But it's also really tough because I'm so into this narrative world of storytelling, fiction. And I think it's like been hard to marry those two. And so I've been making content for past couple months. It's kind of like, and I've been finding my way with it as these things go. And it haven't been like, I've had some things that work, but nothing that is like converting to a lot of readers. And so I've been torn because I feel like I don't love the fiction world insofar as like, I don't listen to like a lot of fiction podcasts, or like, I don't love like listen to podcasts of people who talk about like character development and stuff. Like, I think it's interesting, but it's not like my favorite. You know, my like go-to is probably like more like a founder's podcast by Semra, or, you know, a Modern Wisdom, these ideas around like why, like the human nature piece of things. And so I think I bring a lot of that into the fiction, but I haven't been able to like figure out what that looks like. I think I think if I were to like lean into my like the nonfiction side of things, I actually think I'd be much more successful, because I think I can talk about ideas direct to camera easier like this, or write about ideas, video essays. But there's something that Stephen Pressfield calls, I think it's like your shadow work or something like that, where he's like, you get really close to doing the dream, but like what you actually want to do, but you get close enough that you're kind of like adjacent to it, but it's not the actual thing. And I think this happens a lot. Like, you really wanted to be a script writer, but you became like a PA on a set, or like a producer, you know, this sort of where you're like, you don't actually write scripts, you'll be like close enough. Or, you know, you really wanted to be an actor, but so what you actually became a man, you know, these sorts of like thin lines where like, I'm around it, but I'm not in it. And so I wonder how much of myself is like kind of feeling toward like gravitating towards this sort of like shadow. I'm like, oh, if I build this whole nonfiction career, which truly sounds incredible, and I think I love it, but I'm kind of running away from like the thing that I actually want to do, which is like write and tell stories and like make scripts and make movies. And so it's been this like tough thing where it's like the coaching nonfiction like course online offer high ticket world, I just know in and out. I know how to make it work. I know how to build on socials. I know how to I know how that world works. I know how to build it. I know how to do it. And I wonder if the appeal is that it's such a clear, direct mode to money and mode to like success, and just reps is like chop wood, carry water, and you get there. And I know what that world looks like compared to this one, which is like so unknown. It's like, how the fuck do you make $1 million like from fiction books? And it's like, it's not impossible. Like, a lot of people do this, but it's like learning paid ads and stepping into paid ads more, and like understanding like funnels and Amazon ads and Meta, and like understanding how like paid me. I mean, I work in performance marketing for my day job, but it's different when it's your own product, and books are a different thing than like lead gen or DTC products in a way. Books are DTC, but it's different than like something that has some sort of like direct value to the customer. And that's something like an energy drink or a supplement or something. So I think part of it is this other world that like I actually want to play in, but I don't know how to crack it. Like, I don't know, there's so much unknown. And so it feels more daunting. It feels harder. And so I'm trying to like lean into it, even though it's scary and I have doubts about it. And I feel like I don't know how to do it as well, but I know that people do. There are plenty of examples of people that do it well and crush it. And so it's like, I know that it's possible. I just don't know the route to get there. For a lot more kind of like jagged, like raggedy and shit. And I think what I'm really been thinking about is like, do I have the fortitude to stick it out with this unknown and like see where it goes? Where it's like, on the other end of this thing, it's like, you can make a dream happen. But the hard part is, I also feel like the nonfiction dream would be really fucking cool too. Like, it's a really cool life, you know, and Arthur Brooks, like Prof G, like these guys, is like the whole write, speak, teach thing, I think is a really cool world, playing with ideas. Like, I like that. I love that world too. And so I've been a bit of a crossroads because they don't like bridge together really well. You know, I think it's really hard to like, if it was like Arthur Brooks, like came out with like an action movie, be like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. But I got inspiration. Today I was looking at, not today, but this week I was looking at Joe Rogan. And I know, feel however you feel about him. Like, he has the biggest podcast in the world. And he didn't start it until he was 42. And that gives me a lot of inspiration that he had this whole career, Fear Factor, kind of doing weird shit, doing his stand-up. And he starts his podcast at 42. And then it takes maybe, 10, 12 years before it actually pops. And so a part of that I find actually really inspiring, to be like, I don't have it all figured out right now. And that's what I'm saying before, is like, you never do. But to just like, to at least like continue to try, I think it's important, and like experiment and leaning into those pieces that are uncomfortable. Because this whole world over here, I feel like will be there. But this one will be there too. But I know of the two, if I let this one go and didn't do it, I feel like I look back and be like, damn. And things, it doesn't have to be books. I went to my girlfriend had like an event today, and I went to it, and the guy was like, don't you think books are getting eaten up by AI? I was like, 100%. Already are. But I think what I tell people about like being a writer is I don't see myself as like a writer. I see myself as like a storyteller, almost like a producer of movies would be. Like, not like I have to be like hammering out on the keyboard and like AI's gonna eat that writing up, already is. But like coming up with stories, characters, and like human, I think one of my superpowers is like empathy and understanding humans and being a sensitive guy. And I think like digging into that, like the heart of a story, that I think I'll be able to just like create those, whether it's audio experiences, whether that's with books, whether that's building a world with music, and it's some sort of like audio thing, like whatever that manifests as. It doesn't have to just be writing. And like that world, I want to play in that world, and I feel like I can. It's just, like seeing the runway that it's going to take to get there has been a little bit daunting lately. So I think part of that is, brings me to another point, is that I've been struggling between this tension between ambition and gratitude. And I don't feel like they play well together. Because I think the whole point of ambition, I feel the most ambitious when I'm the least content. Because it's like, there's something in this world that feels wrong, or your world that feels wrong, and you want to change it. Whether that's a social justice thing, whether it's your own situation, like something feels off, and like, I need to fucking get out there and get after it. Like, I need to change some shit. And whereas like gratitude is like, because my dad listened to this last podcast, shout out Mom and Pop, you guys listen to this, and he texted me, he's like, dude, just be grateful you're not in fucking Kiev. He's like, be grateful you're not, in a war zone right now. And that makes total sense. And I think that's the balance, is like, on one hand, incredibly grateful. I have shelter, food, and water. Nothing to technically complain about. And on the other hand, acknowledging how I feel, like, and that is like that I want more than what I have right now. And that's not in terms of like a lot of shit, but like I want to feel more self-actualized than I am right now. And so like realizing that delta before like between like there are parts of my life when I felt like I'm realizing my potential, and I know how that feels. And it's like, I miss that. And I think that's like a big motivating factor for me right now, is like I said, like like it's interesting, the guy who I run the business for, like I know what that feels like, and I see people doing that. Like my boss, like sold from us, he's crushing it. And I miss that. I've told this before, like I miss those like wins. And I want to get back to that. And I can tell that like I'm not there. And so it's like this balance between just like shutting the fuck up and being like, yes, I'm fed, I'm grateful, true. And at the same time, there's a video I was watching this last week, and it was Chris Williamson talking to this guy, and he was talking about these tweets from Naval Ravikant, from the Naval, like it's this amazing book from one of my favorite thinkers. And he had this tweet that like really stuck with me. It says something like he measures intelligence by like how you're able to make, I'm going to butcher this, but it's basically like, he measures intelligence by like how you're able to manifest whatever you want to happen in the world. And manifest is like a woo term, but like basically like, how well are you able to create what you wanted to create in this world? And that is like, it like shoved like a dagger through my heart. And I was like, fuck. I was like, that's true. And I think it's like, that like puts the fine point on where I'm at, where I feel like I'm a force. I'm a little bald fucking ferret force, where I'm like able to like, normally I feel like I'm happening to the world. And right now I feel like the world's happening to me. And it's been an uncomfortable place of being like, feeling like trying to get back. Maybe it's a control thing. I don't know what, but getting back in the driver's seat of being like, whoa, like, don't get this shit fucked up. Like, I'm the one driving here. Like, I've got control of my destiny. Like, y'all, like, we're gonna figure this shit out. But like, I'm driving. Compared to right now, I feel like I've been in the passenger seat a little bit, and it's like I'm kind of like watching things go by, and I'm like, damn. Like, I feel like I'm like, would be great to be back in the game, you know, and being like, dude, like, I need to. What needs to change in my life to get back in the driver's seat? What changes do I need to make to get back in that point where I feel like I'm driving, and it's like the world better watch out because I'm fucking coming for it, compared to this other one where it's a little bit more like reactive in a way of being like that sort of feeling like depending on how you feel about you know, independence of choice, if we have freedom of choice, all that sort of stuff, but being like that there's always more than two choices in a situation. You might not like all of them, but there's more than two. And feeling like things have been binary, I think it's kind of a way that I tend to think. I'm kind of an extreme dude, if you couldn't tell. And so like trying to like evaluate all those options, be like, I'm in this place, I don't love this place, how do I get, like, what are the choices and consequences of those things, and going from there. All right. Yo, I gotta go. And Dale's, yeah, a last thing was on that Modern Wisdom podcast that I recently, with that dude I was thinking, it was for Chris Williamson, this guy I look up to obviously a ton, and he saw how he's been going through like all this health stuff. And I love this idea of like, everybody's going through their shit, we're all playing at a deficit, and if you got in a room with all your best friends, all your homies, and you all put your problems on the table, you'd probably be stoked to like pick all yours back up. And that's how I've been feeling lately. It's being like, yes, struggling through these moments, but if you had to put all the problems on the table, like, I'm like, my shit is a figure outable. You know, it's like, it's on the other like end of like some really hard conversations and some really hard choices. But like, these are all, like I said, it's all figure outable. It's just like getting there and failing, figuring it out one step at a time. So I'm looking forward to this next chapter, but I'm in it. I'm in the shit right now. Poco poco, finding that, how to dance between that tension. Incredibly grateful and also incredibly ambitious. And what does that look like a year from now? What do I need to change today? So in a year from now, I come back, hop on this pod. 9 years, this October, 9 years doing this fucking pod. Look like that. Yep. With new problems now, but those, we fixed that shit. Appreciate y'all as always.